Hey, and welcome back to another episode here with the Commissioner, your host, your guide, hopefully to a very successful fantasy football season. Look, we're a few days away from actual football being played, a couple of days away. And I want to get you guys ready out there. The biggest questions that come up during these weeks, every week pretty much, of fantasy football. Who do I start? Who do I sit? You have your lineup. You want to make sure you start the right players and not start the right players, right? You don't want to bench the right players. That's a big one in fantasy football. So you're not going to get it right all the time. You're going to make mistakes. I definitely will make mistakes. I'll tell you not to start somebody and they're going to go off. It's going to happen. But I'm going to give you the best scenarios of who to start, the best possibility statistically, based on the information we have so far. And every week we learn something new to prepare us for the next week. So that's the key in fantasy football, learning week by week as we go. So in this episode, I'm going to do the AFC games, majority of the AFC games, and one AFC-NFC matchup. So there's two games like that. So let's go ahead and start with the Kansas City Chiefs. And they have visitors coming from Houston. It's a rematch from last year, the Texans versus the Chiefs. So let's go with the Chiefs, right? All right, who to start from the Chiefs? It's pretty easy. You start Patrick Mahomes. You start Tyreek Hill. You start CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And you start Travis Kelce. Now, Travis Kelce missed, I think, practice today. That's why I read a report. Just monitor that. Make sure that when you're going into your Thursday game that he's not injured, he's not starting for you. So just monitor the injury. Something came up. It's always going to come up. I don't think it's anything serious. But these are the guys you start. The guys you bench Mecole Hardman. You don't start Mecole Hardman. Don't start the KC defense. Don't start DeAndre Washington. And if you have a itch to start Sammy Watkins because of what he did last year, look, he might do it again, sure, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't start Sammy Watkins in this matchup. And also Demarcus Robinson. So bench all those guys. So you got four starters: Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, CEH, and Travis Kelce. Very simple. These are your studs. They were drafted early. You start them. Even with CEH, you got to start him. You cannot just bench him and he might go off. Look, he might have a bad game, sure. But look, you start the studs. That's one of my philosophies that I'll probably talk about a lot. For Houston, it's a little different. Of course, you're going to start Deshaun Watson as a quarterback. You're going to start David Johnson. Again, there's a lot of issues with David Johnson. I didn't draft him in many leagues. I don't think I drafted him in many. I have him in my Dynasty League, and I'm starting him there. Again, he's on a new team. He got traded for DeAndre Hopkins. They're going to use him. They have to use him. And this is the week to watch David Johnson. What is he going to do? How is he going to play? Is he going to be fast? Is he going to be slow like he was last year? He lost a lot of steps from what I saw on the field. So watch out. If you're a David Johnson owner, watch this game especially, focusing on what he does. And again, we're going to learn how many snaps they play, right? How many snaps both of the running backs play. So also, you want to start Will Fuller. Look, he's healthy going into this season. He should be the number one guy as the wide receiver for Watson. So I would start him. The only question I have is Brandon Cooks. New team, for me, I never like a guy in the new team. So for me, what I would do with Brandon Cooks is, if you can, bench him and watch. Again, that's the key for Brandon Cooks. He's on a new team. Again, bench Texans defense. Don't start their defense. Darren Fells, tight end, bench him. Randall Cobb, bench him. Duke Johnson, bench him. Kenny Stills, bench him. Duke Johnson, again, he has a history in that team. So if you're in a full PPR league and you're desperate, you can start him, but I don't think you should be desperate unless you just completely messed up your draft. So those are the starts and bench for the first game. Let's go to game number 2. That is the Jets at the Bills. That's a Sunday morning game. You always want to remember, and you know when your players are playing as well. So kind of pay attention to that with the flex and the starting positions. All right, we got the Jets at the Bills. On this one, I'll start off with the defenses. Look, start the Bills D. Start their defense. Don't start the Jets. Hopefully you don't have the Jets defense. But start the Bills defense. Again, it's a good defense, and the Jets are prone to a lot of turnovers. So it's their first game, so hopefully there's a little jitters there for the Jets, and hopefully the Bills have a good have a good outcome on their defense. So for the Bills, start Josh Allen. Again, the Jets are not, so far that we know, they're not a great defense. Start Josh Allen. Start Devin Singletary. He's the guy that was there last year. He's going to be their primary running back unless something drastically changes. So look for your alerts. I know Zach Moss is there. But Devin Singletary, you start him. You start Stephon Diggs. I know he's on a new team, but he's a stud. Okay? He could win you a week. So you start him. They got him. They traded for him. He's going to be the main guy there. You start him, and then you start their D. John Brown is a question. Again, he got drafted very late. So if you need to start John Brown in like a deep league, sure, but I wouldn't start him. So he's a bench for me. Zach Moss, again, we want to see what they do with Zach Moss. Cole Beasley, he was a PPR machine last year. Don't start him. And Dawson Knox, which is the tight end, he has some up and down games, but I bet nobody drafted Knox in your tight end slot. So let's go to the Jets. The Jets are a lot more simpler. 2 starting positions and 1 is questionable. You start Le'Veon Bell. Look, Le'Veon Bell is the guy there, right? And there's a lot of issues with the coach, a lot of news coming out, but he's the primary running back. This is a game to watch how they're going to use him, how many snaps is he going to play, how many catches is he going to catch. I have a lot of hope for Le'Veon Bell. I have him in a few leagues. I'm starting him. Start Le'Veon Bell. The only other person that would start from the Jets is the tight end, Chris Herndon. I think he might be the primary target in that offense for Sam Darnold. He's talented, and I think this might be the tight end. I have him in a few leagues. If I need to, I'm going to start him. I'm starting him in a few because I'm not picking up other tight ends. I'm going to roll the dice on this one. This one's kind of my thing. You don't have to do it. You could pick up another tight end, but I'm starting him. So he's a 50-50 for me. Do not start Sam Darnold. No Frank Gore. Jamison Crowder, don't start unless you have to for some reason. Brashad Perryman, he might be, there's an injury he's dealing with. Denzel Mims, and again, like I mentioned, Jets D, no go. So Le'Veon Bell is the only guy for the Jets. Let's go. Game number 3 in the AFC. Dolphins at the Patriots. This is not the same Patriots team, but it's in New England. And it is Fitzpatrick who actually beat them last year. So for me, I don't know how the Patriots defense is going to be, how good they're going to be this year. I have a lot of questions because they lost a lot of key pieces, but it's still the Patriots defense. It's still the Patriots and still Miami with all their issues. So let's go with the Dolphins. Devonta Parker, you start. Look, he's a stud. Fitzpatrick is the starting quarterback. You got to start Devonta Parker. Mike Gesicki, the tight end, he saw a lot of reps at the end of the season. He saw a lot of snaps. He might be the primary guy for Fitzpatrick as well. So you start the tight end. I know a lot of people drafted. He's pretty much a top tight end. You got to start him in this game. Preston Williams is a question mark. It's a 50-50 for me. Hopefully you don't have to make the decision, but if you do, I don't mind starting him. Look, Fitzpatrick is going to throw the ball. They might be behind. That's a highly probable thing to say about this game, that they will be behind. But you never know. Patriots are favored 6.5, so 6.5 points. All right, so I would sit Fitzpatrick unless you drafted him. A lot of drafts I was in, he was not even drafted. So if you're really desperate for a quarterback, if you have Daniel Jones, for example, you don't want to start him, go pick up Fitzpatrick. He's a decent start for me, but most people wouldn't start him. So Jordan Howard is a sit. We want to see what they do with Jordan Howard. All new running backs. Matt Breida, same thing. And the Dolphins defense, don't start them. Just if you want to look at them, sure, but don't start them. All right, so those are the benches. For the Patriots, you got to start James White in PPR, especially full point PPR. Start James White. Julian Edelman, you got to start him. For me, N'Keal Harry is a 50-50. We don't know what Cam Newton's going to do. We don't know how the offense is going to run. So for me, the Patriots offensively is a game for me to watch to see how they're going to play, how they're going to use Cam Newton. The whole team, I'm just waiting to see and watch what they're going to do. All right, Damian Harris, he went on the IR. He will be gone about 3 weeks, so he's a sit. I mean, he's a bench. You put him on your IL or IR spot. So I'm benching Cam Newton. I'm benching Sony Michel. I mentioned Harris is on the injury reserve. Rex Burkhead, same thing. I bench. Patriots D, I'm starting because against the Dolphins, but you might not be happy with what the production might be from the defense. So cross your fingers, and if you drafted the defense, roll the dice. Alrighty, and let's go to game number 4. Colts at the Jaguars. So we have the Jaguars who are, man, they were in the news because of Fournette. You have the Colts visiting them. This is another Sunday morning game. These are all Sunday morning games except the KC and Texans game. For the Colts, you start Marlon Mack because he's been with the team. He's the starting running back. Jonathan Taylor, if you drafted him early, you're probably going to have to start him. So you probably have to roll the dice and start him there. Again, their offensive line is amazing. Both the running backs might be good. So Jonathan Taylor for me is a go. Marlon Mack is a go. Colts defense is a go. Again, their defense is solid, and Jaguars are just, they're a mess. We don't know what's going to happen with them. Minshew might throw, but he might be prone to a lot of turnovers. So those are the starting at T.Y. Hilton. For me, you bench Nyheim Hines, Phillip Rivers, Michael Pittman Jr., the rookie, Paris Campbell, Jack Doyle. You bench them and see what the offense with the Colts, with Rivers, how they play, what they do. If they're up, if they're behind. I think they're going to be up in this game. So they're not going to be playing from behind. If I felt like they would be playing from behind, maybe in PPR leagues, I would start Hines. Right? So this game they should control. This game they should win. They're favored by 8, according to Vegas as of today, as of the recording now. For the Jaguars, just 2 starts. Number 1, DJ Chark, you got to start him. And then Chris Thompson. I know they're talking about other starting running backs, especially PPR. Chris Thompson is a solid starter. So start Chris Thompson, start DJ Chark, sit Chris Conley. He could have one of those games where he goes off. It's very possible. A few catches and he gets over 100 yards. It's possible. He did it last year. Gardner Minshew for me is a bench. Again, unless you don't have other, quarterbacks that you're looking into, I would not start him in this game. Laviska Shenault, the rookie, for me it's a sit and watch. Right, I'm interested in this guy. I have him in my dynasty league. I'm interested to see if he becomes the wide receiver 2, right, behind DJ Chark. So, and the Jags D, I'm sitting. I'm just not trusting their defense. They've definitely fell from heaven, fell from earth regarding their defense. So let's go to game number 5. I'm trying to get this really quick as possible. So game number 5 is the Browns at the Ravens. This is another Sunday morning game. I'll be definitely looking into this game. Again, for the Browns, let's start with the Browns. Look, you start Nick Chubb. You have to. You start OBJ. You have to. These are your studs. Ravens defense is a good defense. They might not do well. Chubb, OBJ might not do well, but you start for me in these types of games. You'll get a lot of these types of games during the year where it's like, these are the guys, the big stars on my team. Should I start them? For me, I always start them. On Nick Chubb, I always start, no matter what the defense is. I don't care. He's my stud. I'm going to start him because one play and he's got great numbers. So I don't deal with any of that. Sitting my stars, the big players, I don't deal with that. I start them all the time, unless they're injured or they're dealing with an injury. So Nick Chubb, OBJ, Jarvis Landry, and Kareem Hunt in full PPR leagues, especially full PPR leagues, I would start these guys. For me, the bench Baker Mayfield because it's not a good matchup, but I want to see if he's different from last year, if something's changed in their offense and the way they're playing. Rashard Higgins, I would definitely sit him. Austin Hooper, I don't know what they're going to do with their tight ends. Another tight end, David Njoku, sit, and the Browns D, bench, sit. All right, let's go to the Ravens. This is going to be a lot easier. You start your Lamar Jackson. You start your Mark Ingram. You start your Marquise Brown, you start your Mark Andrews, and you start their defense. You're pretty much starting their entire team. The only people I wouldn't start is Miles Boykin. Again, I think he might have a good game. There's a very good chance. But a lot of people didn't draft him. You probably have better wide receivers, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you need to take a flyer on somebody, if you need somebody desperate, he's the guy, Miles Boykin. And J.K. Dobbins, I want to see what they're going to do with him, so I'm not starting him this game. I really want to see how they use him, how many snaps he gets, how much he plays during this first game. So those are the only two benches for me, is J.K. Dobbins and Miles Boykin. All right, game number 6, you got the Raiders at the Panthers. This is the AFC-NFC game. You got one AFC team, one NFC team. I'll do another one in the next segment, next episode. All right, so the Raiders are traveling to Carolina, which is a pretty long travel from Las Vegas. So for the Raiders, there's only 2 starts for me, is Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller. The rest of the team, it's a crapshoot. I don't know how Derek Carr is going to play this year. All the wide receivers are all rookies. I'm not going to start Renfro unless I'm desperate in like a deep PPR league. He did well last year, but I'm not starting him. Henry Ruggs, I want to see what they're going to do. I'm really going to watch Bryan Edwards. This is the guy, he's been playing with the first team during practice. A lot of good reports coming out. I'm watching this guy. I might pick him up on the few teams and put him on my bench just to see how he might become or evolve as a primary wide receiver for Derek Carr. I'm benching the Raiders D as well. So the only 2 stars is Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. I'm confident starting them. No problem. For the Panthers, also only 2. Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. Everybody else, I'm going to see what Teddy Bridgewater does. I'm not starting Teddy Bridgewater. Ian Thomas, tight end, unless you're desperate for a tight end start, he might be a decent start. Curtis Samuel is a big watch. I'm watching for him. Robbie Anderson is there as well. So he's on my bench, and the Panthers D is also on benching. So not a lot of starts from here, just 2 on each end for me, and there's question marks, but I'm watching these games. Again, week 1 is a big watch. You want to watch these games. You want to see what these players do. All right, I don't want to take too long. Let's get into 2 more games. So game 7 is Chargers at the Bengals. This is an Sunday afternoon game. For the Chargers, Austin Eckler, you start. No question. Keenan Allen, you start. Hunter Henry as a tight end, you start. Mike Williams, because Hunter Henry will get more targets if Mike Williams isn't there. Mike Williams is a big target. He's a big guy. So for me, if he's not there, Hunter Henry is even more of a big start. And then the Chargers D is a 50-50, but I would start them. They're a good defense. Again, the Bengals have a rookie coming in, prone to a lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers, so the Chargers defense is a start. I'm not going to start Tyrod Taylor or Mike Williams because of the injury issues, so those are no-go benches for me. They're benched. For the Bengals, you start Joe Mixon. AJ Green is healthy. You start AJ Green, and you start Tyler Boyd. Those are the 3 starts for me. Joe Burrow is a big watch. I am watching this guy. I have to start him probably in 1 league because I drafted him in the keeper value. I don't want to get too many quarterbacks. I might have to start him. I'm looking to start somebody else. I am looking, but Joe Burrow is a watch for me. T. Higgins, same thing. John Ross, their tight end, Uzama, and the Bengals defense, all a bench for me. All right, last game. This is a Monday night. The last game on Monday night, it starts 7:10 p.m. Pacific time. Sucks for you guys in the East Coast. Honestly, it sucks, but we got the Titans at the Broncos, so it's here in Denver. There's a snowstorm coming in, I heard. So watch out for the weather. I don't know what's going to happen if it's snowing. So this is just crazy. They literally just had 90-degree weather, and now they got a snowstorm coming into Denver. So be on the lookout for that, because if they postpone, I don't think they will, but weather can play a factor in this game. So the defenses might be good starts. So Denver defense and Titans defense might be a good start. I'm not doing it yet, but if I'm desperate for a defense, I would maybe pick them up and just follow the weather, because weather helps defenses with turnovers. It's a fact of the NFL. For the Titans, you start Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. That's it. And again, if weather Gets bad, start the defense. Ryan Tannehill, I'm sitting. Jonnu Smith, the tight end, I'm sitting. No other wide receivers I want to start from the Titans. I'm not even going to get into them. For the Broncos, you got to start Melvin Gordon. Again, he's their new piece. You want to see what they do, so I would start him. Courtland Sutton is a start. And Noah Fant is a 50-50. If you drafted him, he is a top 12 tight end. You probably have to start him. I'm okay with starting him. For me, the bench is Drew Lock, Phillip Lindsay. I want to see how they handle Phillip Lindsay. Jerry Jeudy, it's a watch for me. I'm sitting him, benching him. Deshaun Hamilton is another wide receiver I'm benching. And the Broncos defense, unless it's bad weather, I'm going to start the two defenses. But I don't have any of these defenses, so I might not have to make that choice. Some reason I got a lot of Steelers, luckily or unluckily. I don't know how it happened, but I have a lot of Steelers. So, all right, we're kind of hitting close to the end mark here. But these are the kind of starts and benches, the people you want to bench during these games. Again, if you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram. Message me. If you have my number, message me. I can help you out. I'm following the weather, especially the Denver game on Monday night. So all these things factor in starting players, right? So again, to finish off, for the Thursday night game, do not put any players, running backs and wide receivers. Keep them out of your flex. Just do it because your flex gives you options, okay? And then second thing, again, watch out for weather and watch out a few games with the weather, but watch out for injuries. Again, Kelsey just got on the injury report. So things are going to come up during this week. NFL is always unpredictable with injuries. That's the biggest factor you have to deal with. So make sure you know your league rules. Make sure you know that you're ready for Sunday. If somebody's injured, you need to pick somebody up. Be ready. But hopefully these starts and benches, people, who to bench, who to sit, has helped you out. Again, any questions, hit me up. Until next time, take care and let's play some football.